Before love takes root, a man will test the waters, not because he's uncertain, but because he's searching for something deeper. He wants to understand who you are beneath the surface, beyond appearances. This process isn't a game, it's a measure of compatibility, trust, and shared values. And for those who can navigate these unspoken tests, the reward is a bond built on solid ground. Let me share with you 3 key moments in this process that reveal what a man truly values and how he evaluates the strength of a potential relationship. Conflict is inevitable in any meaningful relationship. It's part of the fabric of human connection. How you handle it, however, is what sets the tone for the future. A man, especially one who's contemplating the depth of his feelings, pays close attention to how conflict unfolds. He doesn't expect perfection. Life is far too complex for that. What he's looking for is a reflection of character, an indication of how you navigate the unpredictable storms that life inevitably brings. These moments are not just disruptions, they are opportunities to reveal the deeper layers of who you are. When conflict arises, emotions flare, and it's easy to fall into the trap of reacting impulsively. Anger can cloud judgment, frustration can erode understanding, and in those heated moments, the temptation to lash out becomes almost irresistible. But it's precisely during these times that a man watches closely. He observes not just the words you speak, but the intent behind them. Are you focused on finding a solution? Or are you driven by a need to win? Are you willing to listen, or is your perspective the only one that matters? He's not testing to see if you're perfect. No one is. But he's trying to understand if you can approach disagreement with a spirit of respect and partnership. Imagine this. A minor argument begins, perhaps about something trivial, a misunderstanding, a difference of opinion, or even just a bad day. It escalates, as these things often do. In that moment, you have a choice. You can let the frustration take over, say things you don't mean, and turn a small issue into a larger rift, or you can step back, take a breath, and approach the situation with composure. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or ignoring your perspective. It means communicating them in a way that invites understanding rather than division. A man notices this. He pays attention to whether you seek resolution or escalation. It's not about being passive either. Standing your ground is important, but how you stand your ground matters immensely. Do you assert yourself with grace, or do you dominate with aggression? Do you communicate your needs clearly, or do you resort to manipulation or guilt? These are the questions running through his mind, even if he doesn't consciously articulate them. He's trying to determine whether the dynamic between you fosters growth or breeds resentment. A relationship built on mutual respect thrives in the face of conflict because both partners understand that disagreements are not battles to be won, they're problems to be solved together. What makes conflict such a revealing experience is that it strips away the facade. In the heat of the moment, pretense falls aside and your true self emerges. That's what he's looking for, the real you. He's trying to see beyond the surface, beyond the charm and the initial attraction, to understand whether you're someone he can rely on when things get difficult. Because let's be honest, life is full of difficulties. Careers falter, loved ones fall ill, financial pressures mount, and the weight of responsibility can feel overwhelming. In those moments, the strength of a partnership is tested, and how you handle the smaller conflicts serves as a preview of how you'll handle the bigger ones. Now, some might argue that this kind of scrutiny is unfair, that love should be unconditional and free from judgment. But this isn't about judgment, it's about discernment. Love is not blind, it sees clearly and chooses anyway. A man who is serious about his emotions doesn't want to enter into a relationship lightly. He wants to ensure that the foundation is solid, that the person he's building his life with is someone who will stand beside him, not against him, when challenges arise. This is why he pays attention to your reactions in moments of conflict. It's also worth considering that conflict doesn't just reveal your character, it reveals his as well. The way he engages in these moments speaks volumes about his intentions, his values, and his emotional maturity. Does he listen or does he dismiss your perspective? Does he seek to understand or does he shut you down? The test goes both ways, and the dynamic between the two of you becomes a mirror, reflecting the strengths and weaknesses of your connection. One of the most powerful aspects of conflict is its ability to deepen intimacy when handled well. A disagreement, when approached with respect and openness, can lead to greater understanding and closeness. It's in these moments that you discover more about each other, your fears, your insecurities, your boundaries, and your value. This kind of discovery doesn't happen when everything is smooth and easy. It happens when you're willing to confront the messy, uncomfortable realities of life together. But let's not romanticize conflict. It's not easy, and it's not always pleasant. It requires effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and the other person. It's far easier to avoid conflict altogether, to sweep issues under the rug or pretend they don't exist. But avoidance is not a solution, it's a delay. The unresolved tensions linger beneath the surface, growing stronger and more destructive over time. A man who values a deep and meaningful connection understands this. He doesn't shy away from conflict, he engages with it not to create discord, but to foster understanding. So, when he observes how you handle conflict, he's not just evaluating your behavior, he's evaluating the potential for the relationship to grow. He's asking himself whether you're someone who can navigate life's inevitable challenges with resilience and grace. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It doesn't mean you can't make mistakes or lose your temper from time to time. What matters is your willingness to learn, to grow, and to approach conflict as an opportunity rather than a threat. This process is not about manipulation or testing for the sake of testing. It's about understanding. A man who is serious about love knows that a relationship is only as strong as the people within it. He knows that conflict will come, and he wants to be sure that when it does, you'll face it together as partners, not as adversaries. That's why he pays attention. That's why these moments matter, because in the end, love isn't just about the good times. It's about the strength to endure, to grow, and to thrive, even when the world feels like it's falling apart. There comes a time in every relationship when a man pulls back, not as a form of rejection, but as a means of understanding. This pulling back isn't something to fear or resent. It's a natural part of his emotional process. It's a way for him to evaluate not just the relationship, but himself within it. He's looking to see how the dynamic between you aligns with his sense of self, his need for individuality, and his desire for a partner who respects those boundaries. This isn't about playing games or creating unnecessary tension. It's about testing the depth and resilience of the connection. When a man steps back, even momentarily, he's observing how you respond. Do you chase after him, demanding answers or reassurance? Do you become angry, feeling abandoned or unimportant? Or do you hold your ground, secure in yourself, and allow him the space to process his thoughts? These reactions speak volumes to him, often more than words ever could. What he's looking for is not indifference, but balance. He needs to see that you can respect his need for autonomy while maintaining your own sense of stability. This isn't a rejection of love or closeness. It's a profound respect for individuality within the relationship. A man who is serious about love understands that true intimacy doesn't mean losing yourself in another person. It means coming together as two whole individuals, each with your own thoughts, desires, and boundaries. When he pulls back, he's not testing your love, but your ability to honor that individuality. He wants to know if you can love him not as an extension of yourself, but as a person who exists separately with his own complexities and needs. Now, this space he seeks can feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. It might stir insecurities or trigger doubts about the relationship's strength. But it's crucial to recognize that his pulling back is not a sign of weakness or lack of interest. It's a sign of thoughtfulness, of someone who is carefully considering the path forward. He's not rushing into something blindly. He's taking the time to ensure that what you're building together is grounded in mutual respect and understanding. When you react to this space with patience and confidence, you send a powerful message. You show him that you're not reliant on his constant presence for your sense of worth. You demonstrate that you have your own strength, your own identity, and that you're not afraid to let him explore his. This is incredibly reassuring to a man who values authenticity and independence. It tells him that he's not entering into a relationship where he'll feel suffocated or overwhelmed. Instead, he's building a connection with someone who understands the importance of balance. The need for space isn't exclusive to men, of course. Everyone needs time to reflect, to recalibrate, and to process their emotions. But in the context of a relationship, a man's withdrawal can often be misunderstood. It can be seen as disinterest or a lack of commitment, when in reality, it's a deeper form of commitment. By taking this time, he's ensuring that he's not just going through the motions, but fully present in the relationship. This process of stepping back and observing extends beyond moments of distance. He's paying attention to how you handle the natural ebb and flow of emotional closeness. Relationships are dynamic. They're not static, unchanging entities. There are moments of intense connection and moments of quiet reflection. A man who is serious about love understands this. He knows that love isn't about constant intensity, it's about enduring presence. And he wants to see if you can navigate these shifts without losing yourself or the connection you've built together. It's also worth noting that this space is not just about him, it's about you too. It gives you the opportunity to reflect on your own needs and boundaries to ensure that you're not losing sight of yourself in the relationship. A healthy partnership requires both people to maintain their individuality while coming together as a team. When he pulls back, it's a reminder to check in with yourself. Are you honoring your own needs? Are you maintaining your own sense of identity? These are important questions to consider, not just for the sake of the relationship, but for your own well-being. What often complicates this dynamic is fear. Fear of losing the connection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being enough. These fears can lead to behaviors that undermine the very thing you're trying to protect. You might find yourself overcompensating, trying to prove your worth, or seeking constant reassurance, but this only creates a cycle of dependency that stifles both partners. Instead, the most powerful thing you can do is to trust the process, to trust yourself, and to trust him. This trust doesn't come easily. It requires vulnerability, a willingness to confront your own insecurities, and the courage to let go of control. But it's precisely this trust that allows the relationship to grow. When you show him that you can handle his need for space with grace and understanding, you're not just passing a test, you're building a foundation of mutual respect and confidence. You're showing him that this relationship is a place where both of you can thrive as individuals while growing together. In the end, this process is not about creating distance, but about fostering closeness. By respecting his need for space, you're allowing the relationship to breathe, to expand, and to deepen. You're creating an environment where both of you feel safe to be yourselves, where you don't have to pretend or perform, but can simply be. This is the kind of connection that lasts, the kind that is rooted in authenticity, mutual respect, and a shared commitment to growth. A man who pulls back isn't retreating from you. He's making room for something greater. He's making room for the relationship to evolve, for both of you to grow as individuals and as partners. And when you meet this process with patience and understanding, you're not just proving your strength, you're proving the strength of the relationship itself. Emotional stability is a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. A man who is serious about committing to you will quietly observe how you manage the highs and lows of your emotions. He's not looking for someone who suppresses their feelings or pretends everything is fine when it's not. That kind of false stoicism is not what builds connection. Instead, he's looking for emotional resilience, an ability to experience and express emotions without being consumed by them, an ability to weather the storms of life with strength and grace. In the early stages of a relationship, emotions tend to run high. There's excitement, vulnerability, and sometimes even fear. These emotions, while natural, can also be overwhelming. A man who is contemplating a deeper connection wants to understand how you navigate these intense feelings. Do you allow them to control you, or do you take responsibility for them? This isn't about perfection, it's about self-awareness and the willingness to manage your emotional state in a way that fosters understanding rather than conflict. When life throws challenges your way, and it will, your emotional response becomes a mirror of your inner world. How do you handle disappointment, frustration, or sadness? Do you lash out, looking for someone to blame? Do you retreat into yourself, shutting out those who care about you? Or do you face these emotions head on, acknowledging their presence without allowing them to dictate your actions? These are the questions a man considers, often subconsciously, as he watches how you respond to life's difficulties. Your ability to regulate your emotions speaks to your maturity and self-awareness. It shows whether you're someone who can handle the inevitable challenges of a relationship with resilience and composure. A man isn't expecting you to be unfeeling or unaffected by life's struggles. On the contrary, he values your ability to feel deeply. What matters is how you channel those feelings, how you process them in a way that strengthens rather than weakens the bond you share. There will be times when emotions run high, not just in your life, but in the relationship itself. Arguments, misunderstandings, and missteps are unavoidable. In these moments, emotional stability becomes even more critical. A man who is serious about love wants to know that you can approach conflict with a clear head and a steady heart. He's looking for someone who can express their feelings without letting anger or frustration take over. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions, it means expressing them in a way that fosters resolution rather than escalation. Imagine a situation where plans go awry and tensions rise. Perhaps there's a misunderstanding or an unmet expectation. In that moment, your emotional response sets the tone for what follows. Do you react impulsively, saying things you'll later regret? Or do you take a moment to step back, to consider your words and actions carefully? This doesn't mean being passive or avoiding the issue. It means addressing it with thoughtfulness and intention. A man pays attention to these moments. He notices how you handle the heat of the moment, how you communicate your feelings, and whether you're willing to work toward a solution. This process of observation isn't about judgment or criticism, it's about understanding. A man who values emotional stability isn't looking for someone who never gets upset or never makes mistakes. He's looking for someone who is willing to grow, to learn from their emotions, and to use those emotions as a tool for connection rather than division. He's looking for a partner who can stand beside him, not just when things are going well, but when life feels overwhelming. Emotional stability doesn't mean being immune to pain or hardship. It means having the strength to face those challenges without losing yourself in the process. It means acknowledging your feelings without letting them consume you. It means being able to step back and see the bigger picture even when emotions are running high. A man who is serious about love values this quality deeply because it creates a foundation of trust and reliability. He knows that with someone emotionally stable, he can face life's uncertainties with confidence. But this observation isn't one-sided. Your emotional stability invites his in return. When you demonstrate composure in the face of difficulty, you create a space where he feels safe to do the same. Emotional stability becomes a mutual practice, a shared commitment to approach life's challenges with resilience and understanding. This dynamic fosters intimacy and trust, allowing both of you to navigate the complexities of a relationship with grace. It's also important to recognize that emotional stability doesn't mean being unemotional. It doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or pretending to be unaffected by life's struggles. True emotional stability involves feeling deeply while maintaining a sense of balance. It's about allowing yourself to experience the full range of human emotions without being overwhelmed by them. It's about finding strength in vulnerability and using that strength to build a deeper connection. In the moments of emotional intensity, your reaction shapes the trajectory of the relationship. It's not just about how you feel, it's about what you do with those feelings. A man who is serious about love wants to see that you can navigate these moments with maturity and thoughtfulness. He's looking for someone who can turn emotional challenges into opportunities for growth, both individually and as a couple. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Emotional stability is not about never losing your temper or never feeling overwhelmed. It's about how you recover from those moments, how you learn from them, and how you use them to strengthen your bond. A man who values emotional stability understands this. He knows that growth is a process, and he's looking for someone who is willing to engage in that process alongside him. Life is unpredictable, and emotions are an inevitable part of that unpredictability. But in the midst of life's chaos, emotional stability becomes a source of strength. It allows you to face challenges with resilience, to navigate conflict with compassion, and to build a relationship that can withstand the test of time. A man who values this quality isn't just looking for a partner, he's looking for someone to face life's uncertainties with, someone who can find strength in vulnerability and use that strength to build a deeper connection. When he observes your emotional stability, he's not just evaluating your ability to handle life's challenges, he's evaluating the strength of the relationship itself. He's looking to see if this is a connection that can endure, that can grow, and that can thrive in the face of life's complexities. Emotional stability becomes the foundation upon which trust, intimacy, and love are built, creating a bond that is both profound and enduring. So if you find yourself in this stage where it feels like he's subtly testing you, embrace it as an opportunity. It's not about proving your worth, it's about demonstrating your authenticity, your emotional strength, and your capacity for mutual growth. Love isn't just about finding someone to complete you, it's about building a partnership where both people flourish. When you pass these tests, not by trying to impress, but by being genuinely yourself, you open the door to a connection that is profound and lasting. And remember, the right person isn't just looking for someone to love, they're looking for someone to grow with, someone to face life's trials with courage and grace. Your authenticity is your greatest strength. Let it shine.